If you want to find the right girlfriend or life partner, you have to learn to attract and keep women interested in you. Masculine and feminine energy, the balance of both is extraordinarily important. Most men lack masculine energy in their expression in life as well, or rather in particular in the interactions with women. Perhaps you're killing it in business. Maybe you have a great career. Maybe you're young and ambitious, old and rich, whoever you happen to be. You have certain areas in your life where you're living that masculine energy. But when it comes to your interactions with women, you lack a lot of that. And what I want to talk about today is the difference between masculine and feminine energy, the advantages and disadvantages of both, and how you can combine them to perform at your maximum in your interactions with women to get and keep the right ones interested in you. So let's start with masculine energy, because that's what most men lack. By the way, I'm not one of those red pill guys. I'm not here to talk bad about anybody. I like to talk bad about the ideas, so we can let the ideas die instead of people, as Jordan Peterson says, but don't want to talk bad about people. But I'm not one of those guys who hates on women. That's not what I'm for, right? But most men definitely lack masculine energy in their expression with women. So first of all, we should maybe come up with a couple of examples of what it means to be masculine in your expression around women. Well, first of all is a degree of disagreeableness, a sense of unashamedness, being unapologetic in the way you communicate your politically incorrect opinions. And dipping into feminine energy, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be kind. Absolutely be kind and respectful. But women want to be with a man. If she didn't want to be with a man, she'd be a lesbian and she'd be on Grindr. She wants a masculine man who can stand up for himself and thereby, as a consequence, for her and your future family together. That's absolutely crucial. So, every single behavior you exhibit during the initial approach on the first date will be mapped unconsciously by her towards future behavior. If he acts like this now, how is he going to act in the future when we have a family together? What else does it mean to be masculine? It means to lead. Leadership is a very, very long and nuanced discussion that could be a 2.5-hour video in and of itself. But a couple of important things. Leadership does not mean telling women what to do. It's not your job. You don't have the right to do that. And you wouldn't even want it. You don't want to be in a relationship with a slave, with an employee. You don't want that. You want to have a relationship on eye level. Yet, for women to feel truly attracted to you, you have to assume the role of masculine leadership. And what does it mean? Well, it simply means taking the initiative and suggesting a concrete time and place for the date or a concrete course of action. So, when Fernanda and I yesterday, 2 days ago, we had a date day, okay? We planned out a couple of activities, and then we just spent the whole day together. So I said, let's do this. Let's go to the sauna. Let's connect intimately and spiritually. If you get what I'm saying, obviously I phrase that slightly differently, slightly more provocatively, slightly more sexually. Let's go dancing. Let's drive to the other side of Ireland. Let's do this. That's what it means to be a man, to say let's. I want you to learn the words let's. Let's do this. Even just the way you say it. Are you saying, let's do this? Do you want to do this? I have a video. I don't think I'm going to show it here. But I sometimes show it to clients. A video that I sent to my ex-wife many years ago. I was married to a woman who wasn't right for me. And I was incredibly permission-seeking, validation-seeking in that I was terrible when it came to meeting women. I was confident in general, pretty decent social skills in general, but very bad when it came to my expression around women. And so I didn't communicate my opinions. I didn't lead at all. There was a variety of different reasons for that. But in that video, maybe I'll play it. Maybe we'll play it, maybe we won't. You can see pain in my face. I'm saying, how are you? How is your day going? I communicated like a cuck. Really, that's what it was. The biggest beta cuck in the whole world, swear to God. So whatever I'm teaching you here, I'm not coming from a high horse. I'm saying, oh, you suck at dating relationships, you're a loser. No, not at all. You just lack a skill set. You lack confidence, communication skills in this area. Communication is always context dependent. And you don't understand the dynamics of attraction, which I did too. So even my tonality sucked back then. So when you say let's, how do you say it? And it's not about putting on a fake deep voice. You know, guys, where I put on a fake deep voice to sound more masculine. That's not what it is to be masculine. She can see right through that. But I say, hey, let's go do this. Let's go to the sauna. And then we'll see. If she really doesn't want to, if she has an alternative plan, no, I'd rather go to a bar and have some alcohol-free drinks, because Fernanda and I never drink. Well, she every now and then very rarely drinks, like not even once a month, less than that, and I don't drink at all. I was like, okay, cool. If you really want that, I'm the last person to say, no, we can't do that. Yeah, right, let's go here. Nope, it has to be my way or the highway. That's not what it means to be in a relationship. A relationship, as Tony Robbins says, is a place where you come to give. You're trying to meet the other person's needs. You're trying to meet your own needs as well, of course, but you're trying to make her happy. It's not my way or the highway. That's really not what this is about. But the important thing you have to understand is, whenever there's ambiguity, it's your time to lead. I don't mind. She wants an opinion. Which dress do you think looks better, this or that? Even if you couldn't give a fuck, because she's beautiful. It's not about the dress, but the woman in it. It's not about the suit, but the man in it. You still gotta tell her whichever one you prefer, because otherwise she'll lose attraction. She'll lose respect for you. When she says, I don't mind, suggest a plan. She wants you to fucking lead. And then if she doesn't want to, or she has a counter suggestion, negotiate. Have a conversation around it. Because is it really the activity when you're in a relationship? Is it really the activity in and of itself that makes the difference? Yeah, of course, certain things you just hate and you just don't want to engage in certain activities. For example, like I have a hard time going to bars and pubs and not approaching, right? So, because that's what I teach. I'm doing that for many, many years. I'm probably the best in the world at it, right? The best in the world at it, or at least one of the best, 100%. I don't know anybody else who teaches the system that we teach. But so it's quite difficult for me to be in a bar and just sit around, just listen to music and be passive. For me, an evening with Fernanda always has to be active. There have to be activities, just sitting around. Well, every now and then you just worked so hard and you just want to pass out and watch some Netflix for a couple of hours. Of course, that's fine. You got to contract. You got to pull back, recharge, and then you can explode back into the world in your masculine self. Penetrate the world in a masculine way, as Elliot Hulse would call it. But there also has to be some recharging time, so that's fine. But most of the time when I go on a date with Fernanda, I definitely want it to be active, so I'm going to suggest some activities. Now, technically you could make an argument in the sauna. Is it really active? Well, sit in the sauna for 20 minutes and you'll realize it's way more active than you think. Your heart will definitely be active. You'll be pumping. Your heart will be pumping. You'll be sweating out all kinds of heavy metals, or at least metals, certain metals. Sauna is extraordinarily beneficial. Go to the sauna. Really, really good for you. I think they've done studies where they realize that if you go to the sauna 4 times a week for 20 minutes each, you decrease all-cause mortality by 48% or something like that. So sauna is actually quite active because it's demanding for the body. So that's a fun activity. Also, when I get to sit in Fernanda and I look at her, I'm like, my God, she's so unbelievably hot. Jesus, that's amazing. That's kind of like the build-up to whatever happens later that night. So obviously I really enjoy that. I'm sitting there and I'm like, my God, I wanted life. You know? So that's an activity. I suggest that. If she has something else she wants to do, suggest it. No problem. But leadership is one of those components of masculinity. What else does it mean to be masculine? It means to be aggressive. Now, never towards women. But what does aggression actually mean? I believe, and I may be wrong with this, but I believe the word aggression comes from moving forward. That's really what it means. If you look at the Latin root of it, I may be getting this wrong, so please fact check this yourself. But as far as I know, the word aggression simply means to move forward. That's what it means to be aggressive. Refocus the camera there. That's what aggression really means. And Jordan Peterson says this, as a man, you have to have the ability to be a monster. You have to have a monster inside you that's tamed. Choosing peace because violence isn't an option. Choosing not to fight because you can't fight isn't choosing not to fight because you can't fight isn't a virtue. It's just the only modus operandi that's available to you. But if you're actually quite a skilled fighter, which I'm not, like I trained karate for 6 years, 3 years of judo as a child, I probably know more about martial arts than 90% of society. But there is a category of actual fighters that's different, right? So we definitely want to differentiate between that. But if you happen to be a really, really skilled fighter and you choose not to, that's a virtue. If you happen to have, say you're in a bar and somebody wants to start a fight with you, and you have the ability to engage in violence and potentially do great harm to that person purely as an act of self-defense, and you choose not to, even though you really can, because you've practiced it and you've proven it to yourself in a martial arts, in a dojo, in a respectful environment, obviously, and you've sparred to quite an extensive degree, then that's a virtue. If you're in a bar, you approach somebody and says, "Ooh, what do you want from me? Why are you talking to my girlfriend?" And he's like coming at you. And instead of fucking him up, which maybe you could, you choose to take your ego out of the situation, you choose to walk away, you involve the bouncers, perhaps you call the police, you de-escalate. Maybe you just walk away and you leave the venue immediately. That's a virtue. But I would encourage every man, by the way, to do martial arts. Every man should have some degree of martial arts experience. This is not because you should actually go out there and start fights. That's not what this is about at all. But it's going to contribute to your levels of confidence massively. You will meet high quality male friends. You'll feel physically able. You exercise, you strengthen your body. It increases your testosterone to spend time with other high quality male, soon to be perhaps friends. And if you're looking for a martial art to start, by the way, since we're talking about this idea of masculine energy, I recommend jiu-jitsu. Boxing and kickboxing, amazing. Absolutely, you can do that. But the problem with boxing and kickboxing is either you go to such an extent where it's really, really heavy competitive fighting that you sustain quite a bit of brain damage, or it's just fitness boxing, which is gay, because you're not doing any real sparring at all, and you think you know how to box, but you're really just hitting the bag, right? So get some boxing experience with a minimum degree of head trauma, because you're not trying to become a professional fighter, so the trade-off between brain capacity and longevity and money doesn't even make any sense for you, because you have alternative sources of income, perhaps a business or a really good career. So if you're looking for a martial art to start, it's absolutely jiu-jitsu, without a doubt. There's 3 levels of martial arts. I'm going to nerd out about that a little bit. And by the way, one thing that I want you to be aware of, can you see how I'm doing all of this without a script? This is what you're going to be able to do on a date. These YouTube videos, I want you to look at them from a meta perspective as well. It's like, this is how you can go from one subject to another. Yes, obviously, there's a common theme that's stringing all of this together. This way. There's a common theme that's stringing all of this together, but it's quite free-flowing. And that's a skill set that you got to develop. If you want my help with that, there's techniques, structures, and processes to be able to develop that rather quickly. Apply for a free initial consultation call. It's one of the most amazing things that I help my clients with, okay? Apply for a free call. Click the link underneath this video. So there's 3 layers to fighting, right? There's 3 different distances. There's kicks, where there's out of range. Then there's kicking distance. There's punching distance, there's elbows, and then there's clinching. Those are the distances, 4 distances, 4 layers of distance, right? But there's also 3 heights. Stand up, then there's where you have like boxing and kickboxing, for example, or Muay Thai, or karate, or taekwondo. There's only a couple of martial arts that are actually legit. And then you have wrestling and judo, which is kind of the transition from stand-up clinching to the ground. And then on the ground, you basically really only have judo and jiu-jitsu. Yes, wrestling as well. But wrestling is more the transition, like judo. So jiu-jitsu is one of the most legit martial arts when it comes to the ground. The best ground fighters in the world are jiu-jitsu. So if you're looking to start something, absolutely, I can recommend jiu-jitsu. So having that ability to venture out and do great harm and not to do it because you choose to live a peaceful life, because you want the best for people, because you want to feel connected to the world, because you understand consequences, you understand what the benefit of engaging in a violent encounter is. Barely any. It's an absolute lose-lose scenario, no matter what happens. Well, then choosing peace is absolutely a virtue. But coming back to aggression, We just had to move out of the sun there real quick because it was getting a bit bright. So aggression, moving forward, can manifest itself in the approach. Again, aggression in the Latin sense of the word, never aggressive, always kind, always respectful, always nice. But moving forward, having the internal fortitude and the internal drive and the desire to move in the direction of a desired outcome, which could be a relationship or at least the encounter, or at the very least the ability to overcome that fear of yours. So you see something you want and you go for it is one of the tenets of masculinity. Most men lack masculinity. It's funny, there was a girl who commented on my Instagram story yesterday and she said, why is it? I believe she was from somewhere in Eastern Europe. Just keep going, it's fine. She was somewhere in Eastern Europe and she said, just adjust the ISO a little bit. And she said, why is it that Western men are so weak and sensitive? And I was saying, well, look, first of all, these men that you call so weak and sensitive, you'd actually be very, very grateful to have them, to have one of them in your life, because they're oftentimes really good guys. They just haven't learned how to let masculinity manifest itself in their communication with you. So there is a point, though. I didn't want to reward her for such a stupid comment. Let's sit here for a second, maybe. I did want to reward her for such a stupid comment, but she has a point, which is that you do need to show that you're moving in the direction of a desired outcome way more. So if you, as a man, want something, you have to show her that you're going after it. And that's really true. There's actual papers, scientific papers, that show that, and there's controversy around it, I'm sure you can make a point against it, that women value ambition more than current success. Yeah, they want you to be successful, and that's absolutely attractive, but if you're letting yourself go, that's not great. I have clients who are in their 60s who are running ultramarathons. That's amazing. A woman needs to see you're actively pursuing things, and this will never ever stop. That's why this idea of retirement is so ridiculous. The second you retire, everything dies. The second you stop pursuing what it is that you actually want, things go really bad. Women lose respect for you. So aggression in the furthest sense means I see what I want and I go for it. If she witnesses that, it is unbelievably attractive. So masculinity goes way, way, way deeper than this, but these were a couple of examples. Now, let's transition to the other side, which is feminine energy. And how does feminine energy manifest itself? First of all, there's nothing wrong with feminine energy. It's beautiful, it's kindness, it's love, it's gentleness, it's connection, it's trust, it's beauty. And it's not about not showing feminine energy around women at all. It just comes down to knowing when it's appropriate to be in your feminine energy and be vulnerable and reassure and build trust, and when to build attraction, perceived value, in other words, lead with masculinity. So being kind, reassuring her, that's absolutely a beautiful thing. And when I'm around Fernanda, I'm in my feminine energy a lot. Very funny, very silly, very playful, very lighthearted. And I love being in my feminine energy, because call it feminine energy, call it high energy, call it love, that's what you ultimately want to experience as a man, as a human being. You want to feel a sense of connectedness to yourself, to the woman in your life, to your male friends, and to the world around you. And the way you create that is, first of all, with intent. Again, I go back to Wayne Dyer's lecture called The Power of Intention. It all starts with intention. You place an image of what you want to experience, internally or externally in your life, in your mind. You derive a plan and you work towards it. And you imagine what it would be like to have the desired outcome in the present moment. Fundamentals of the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction and manifestation is nonsense to the extent that nothing will ever magically manifest itself just by itself. It has to be backed up with action. But visualization works. So visualize what kind of woman you want to be with, and visualize it not from a wanting perspective, but from a having perspective. It's not about being delusional, but that's how you achieve a lot of goals. You could just take the action and probably achieve it as well, but visualization is a very, very powerful tool. So start with the intention of wanting to experience love. And love, by the way, is not neediness. Love is not desire. These are three very different things. You can experience desire and it's beautiful. Even just the way the voice changes, like desire. Ooh, it's amazing. Neediness is a problem because it's the manifestation of scarcity in your thoughts, emotions, and actions. You don't want neediness. And most of the time, when you think you're experiencing love, it's either the sensation of a crush, which is just a phenomenon in and of itself. It is no indicator that you're compatible with each other whatsoever. Or it's neediness. I really need her, she's so special. And is she really? Do you actually like her? Is she really that special? Probably not. You're just coming from an utter place of scarcity. If you have a date a month, of course you're going to think she's special. She probably isn't. Let me tell you something. There are so many amazing women in the world. But you'll never be able to choose the right person from a place of confidence and abundance if you don't create that factual abundance in your life first. You need those high quality options. So, love has nothing to do with neediness or desire. It is truly a sensation of connectedness and wanting to give and to contribute. And what I would like you to experience is a sensation of, maybe if you meditate, you've had it before, maybe when you spend time with family members, we had some beautiful moments in your life. We just felt truly connected. And it's moments. And sometimes you can experience these things by yourself when you're in a meditative state, contemplative state. But most of the time, it's with people, right? It comes down to the memories and the experiences you make with people. And it is really possible to experience a lot more of those moments throughout the day. And you can call it feminine energy, and we'll call it that for the sake of the argument. The label really doesn't matter. But living in a sense of connectedness to yourself, peace, and flow is beautiful. If you're in a bar and you're coming from such an abundant place where you're basically a source of energy that's overflowing, your cup runneth over, good things will come to you automatically. Now you'll still have to do the approach because you can just feel fully energized and do nothing and nothing will happen. So you'll still have to do something with that positive intent, with that love. Things won't just happen, but they'll happen so much more easily when you tap into that lover energy. If we look at the four archetypes, the king, the warrior, the magician, the lover. The lover being feminine energy. And I would encourage you to opt to live in a state of love and peace and flow and ease as often as possible. But there are times where you gotta put the foot down in your life, set boundaries, and tap into the warrior energy. Sometimes problems are gonna come. Sometimes people are gonna want to cross your boundaries. Maybe because you even haven't set them. Maybe because you haven't set them yet in the first place. And in those moments, it's important to be able to tap into warrior energy. It's absolutely key. You have to have a base of the warrior and you got to strengthen that. You got to become harder. David Goggins, all the way. Become harder. Become a warrior. That's what you need to be able to fall back on. That is your base. In the further sense, James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, says, it is not your goals that determine how high you rise, but your habits that determine how low you fall when shit hits the fan, and I'm paraphrasing. And obviously your goals determine how high you rise, 100%, but he's really making the point that your base, your habits determine how shit life is gonna get when shit hits the fan. Why is it that some people fall a lot into much darker places than others? And there's a variety of different reasons. This is a lot more complex than this, but one of the reasons is habits. If you have a lot of bad habits, when a crisis comes and you indulge in alcohol, you indulge in other drugs, your sleep isn't on point, you're not exercising, you don't have high quality male friends around you, you're not meditating, you don't have a therapist, you don't have a coach, obviously you're going to fall a lot further. The challenges you're going to experience, they're going to hit you much harder. Sometimes there are horrible things that happen to people, of course, that throw people off kilter. I don't want to diminish the severity of those events at all, but really habits matter. And one of the most important mental and emotional and spiritual habits is to tap into the warrior energy. Say, okay, somebody wants to cross a boundary of yours, and you say, up until this point and no further. And I'll give you an example of a beautiful, one might almost say perfect manifestation of masculine and feminine energy, which happened to me last night. I was in an Uber, so I Or the Uber Black, where you pay 2.5 times, hey buddy, where you pay 2.5 times the price or something like that. Because you get a better service, you get better cars, it's nice, you know. They turn the radio off when you ask them to do that. It's just, you know, a bit of a better service. And so the guy, really nice guy, it was a bit late, first of all, but really nice guy. And so I'm sitting in there, and then he's chewing gum obnoxiously loud. It was a 14, 15-minute taxi ride, and he's chewing his chewing gum so loud, like obnoxiously loud, over the top, zero social skills whatsoever, not social skills necessarily, but zero awareness. And so I'm faced with a dilemma. It's pissing me off, so I want him to stop, especially because I'm paying a higher price. That's mine. And I don't want to be a dickhead, I don't want to hurt his feelings. So what do I do? So I'm sitting there, and a part of me goes, nah, just don't say anything. Be fine. And that was literally going on inside of me for 30 seconds. I was like, okay, leave it, it's fine. You sometimes chew gum, probably too loud as well, it's fine. But then he kept going. Nom, nom. I was like, bro, I can't take this anymore. And then I realized, if it's pissing me off that much, how much business is he losing over this? Of people who would otherwise want to be driven around by him, that choose not to, because of this annoying habit. And so I realized, if I don't say anything, it's not just bad for me, it's also bad for him. So, okay, cool. So you can go about that now in a very dickish way. And you can say, bro, shut the fuck up, stop chewing that gum. And you can be a really horrible person about it. Or you can be kind. And basically what I said is, hey man, what I'm about to say is going to sound really harsh, and I'm going to sound like a dick. And I don't mean it in such a way, okay? What I'm about to say, I really just don't want you to lose any business, and also because it's important to me, okay? He goes, yeah, okay, what's going on? And I say, the way you're chewing gum is obnoxiously loud. It is so loud. It's really annoying. And if it's annoying me like that, it'll annoy other passengers of yours, and I guarantee you're going to lose business over that. So would you mind maybe chewing it a little bit quieter? And he immediately apologized and said, yeah, no problem at all. Thank you for letting me know. And then I added it one more time. I said, I'm really sorry. I know I sound like a dick. I really don't mean to sound like a dick. But it's just something that's important to me, and I don't want you to lose business. I emphasized it again. So I really made an effort to be kind in that interaction with that guy. But I also had to set a boundary. So what happened in that moment? There was inner peace. What happens when you don't set these boundaries? When you don't tap into that warrior energy? When you don't tap into your masculine energy? You become resentful because these things build up. If you don't communicate your needs, and I had a need for fucking not have my ears disturbed, get ear cancer. I had a need for a lack of ear cancer in that moment. Okay. If I hadn't communicated my need for a lack of ear cancer in that moment, I would have been angry for another 11 minutes. And I didn't want to pay 2.5 times the price for a regular Uber to get ear cancer, because that was actually obnoxious. And here's the cool thing. If you do it in a nice and kind way, nobody loses. Everybody wins, because he will now hopefully be aware of that and not do that in the future, and he'll get more business. Because good car, nice person, it's good for him. Setting boundaries and tapping into your masculine energy, not in an asshole, aggressive, blah, 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 alpha kind of way. Yeah, you're gonna be a fucking man, but you can do it in a serious way, but still be nice about it. Firm yet gentle. Helps other people as well. Setting boundaries with women, it helps them. Women are sometimes like children, where they're gonna test the parents' boundaries. They're gonna see exactly how far they can go. A little bit further, up until this point, and no further. They want to see how far they can go. And even if children are going to complain about the rules you give them, the boundaries you set, the worst thing you can do to them is not provide them with structure, certainty, rules, and regulations within the realm of a family, because they lack orientation. They need certainty first and foremost. And it's much better in a social interaction between you and a woman, for there to be a little moment of conflict, which will get resolved rather quickly. You'll see she'll drop into her feminine and be quite kind and playful and happy, actually. It's much better to have that little moment of conflict and long-term peace than fake short-term harmony, which is going to ruin the long-term relationship Because I can tell you, if you don't communicate your needs in a relationship, the relationship is fucked. It's gonna happen, trust me. With my ex-wife, I didn't communicate my needs. And I ended up in a relationship with somebody who really wasn't right for me. And I suffered a ton. Tons of men and women are suffering because they're not communicating their needs, because they don't know how to do that. So, coming full circle, go into your masculine. Try to live in your femininity as much as possible. When challenges arise, boom, tap into the warrior. Strengthen it with exercise. Learning how to set boundaries in a firm yet a gentle way. Obviously, this all goes a lot deeper, but I hope this was helpful to you. If you want me to help you find the right girlfriend, life partner, or wife, personally, apply for a free initial consultation call. I'm looking forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.